All right, we are live. Everything is locked and loaded and looking good. So let's go ahead and do this, shall we? Let's podcast live, not in Eford Studios. We're in Wrightsville Beach at Jimmy's, and we're having slushies. Joe, are you prepared for today?
This is a vibe, man. This is our spot. I love it.
Big thanks to the Butcher's Market for sponsoring OG Live, of course. They do this every week for us. Go check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. You might need some tailgating stuff. You might want to take advantage of this weather and grill out. Butcher's Market's got it for you. And, of course, our friends at Copiers Plus. Drew's in the house.
The OG, our guy.
Mr. Copiers Plus himself is here. So we're very excited about that. But, yeah, man, UNC in action tonight. We're at Jimmy's where people are already pre-gaming. Dude, it's a random Thursday.
7-hour pregame, 8-hour pregame.
It's a random Thursday, and this place is packed. I absolutely love it. What I'm not pumped about is Louisville. They knew the tournament started today, right?
They apparently didn't know that it started in the first half. Also, like, NC State fans are looking at Creighton going, is that the same exact team who beat us in Denver in 23? There's like one or two guys missing, but yeah, that is Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Amazing. All right, I know why y'all are watching. I know why you're here. We got some news, so let's get to it, shall we?
Woke up this morning, tracked myself a flight. Might get our top candidate if the pizza's right. Wade or Gainey, will it be, or somebody new? Here's your chance to make your mark, a coach and search with Boo.
No, the reason why you're here is because you want to see Joe Giglio rocking that Carolina shirt. From Trevor, come on, Giglio. I know you're not rocking that Carolina shirt right now. From Terry, Joe, are you really wearing that UNC shirt? Yeah, he is. Shout out to Kevin. It's Joey Giggs and a Vince Gill fan. You're right. Big Vince Gill fan here today. All right. So, well, first off, why are you wearing that shirt?
We saw this in Charlotte. Nothing easy. Duke, Carolina, and Stanford. Nothing easy.
Well, Stanford had the Nerd Nation shirt on, too.
Question mark? Nothing easy? And then, of course, they proceed to beat San Diego State by 40 points. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that are easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm also happy for Bubba Cunningham because he set into motion one of the great galaxy brain theories of all time. He played a part.
He played a part. In fact, let's go back to the guy who called in yesterday. This is from an 828. This is a way to set up where things are to help explain how Will Wade is in agreement to go be the next NC State head basketball coach.
Hey, Joe. I was just wondering if you could send me the personal mailing address for Lawrence Bubba Cunningham. I need to write him a thank you note for signing the certificate on NC State's next national championship by using his dark magic to get Carolina in the tournament, then kept West Virginia out. And I'm choosing to believe that that's why DeVries is jumping ship, going to Indiana. Therefore, they're not hiring Brad Brownell. Therefore, Will Wade will not be going to Clemson. He will be coming to Raleigh, NC State National Championships 2026. Roll pack.
Simple as that.
To put it in even more easier to understand visual terms from our guy Colin, Bubba Cunningham screws West Virginia as the small domino, and it leads to the big giant domino of hashtag Wade to State. Why do we bring this up? Well, coaching searches are funny like this. Where you think things are going at the beginning might not be where they end up. Other jobs might come open. Other jobs might not. Other coaches might get word, hey, man, I know you think you've got an in for this job, but you actually don't. We might be going in a different direction. And that was something that I know that you specifically, Joe, have been trying to caution State fans about. Not necessarily that Will Wade wouldn't have interest in NC State, just that these things are fluid. Other jobs might come open. They all talk to each other. They might have a better idea of where things are going than we do. Maybe even the agents do. Certainly where the ADs are operating. And it looks like all things broke out in favor of NC State with the way the job dominoes fell, including Texas, by the way, unless the rug gets pulled at the last minute, which we don't expect. But that's how Will Wade went from, oh, man, are you serious? To, oh, wait, this is actually happening. So we'll walk it through here.
Yeah, so NC State and Will Wade, as I tried to word as carefully as possible yesterday, have reached an agreement for Will Wade to be NC State's next coach. Now, of course, those details need to be finalized. McNeese is going to tip off here in about an hour with Clemson.
Yeah.
And his season needs to end and all those good things. But NC State's ready to make a move. They have an agreement in place. Will Wade's going to, all things considered, and Will Wade will be NC State's next coach. So I think this is a show for both Bubba Cunningham, for Boo Corrigan, a win, the way that it went out and made the search work, and also NC State in the sense, we talked a lot about how Carolina showed you during the football search for Bill Belichick, we're now serious about football. And as Kevin Keatts said, maybe too many times this year, and then on his way out, NC State can't have success unless they have a commitment financially.
Right.
You can't get Will Wade without the financial commitment necessary. So that's the win for State. That's the win for Boo Corrigan, who's, you know, I think State fans have mostly been cool on Boo.
Sure.
You know, in part, we've talked about he's not Debbie. He's not like he's not going to pick a fight with anybody on social media. He kind of prefers to work in the background. And now, that doesn't mean Will was his first choice, right? I think this is a very 2025 search. I think the fan money was involved.
Yep.
And the fans were involved in this search. And quite frankly, that's how the story gets out and gets broken.
So I don't think people quite understand that you and I, and you've covered this a lot more closely than I have. You've actually worked on these coaching searches and whatnot. And I think part of the thing that I'm still kind of processing is that an NC State coaching search wound up with the top target they wanted.
Yeah.
That both the money people and the administration eventually found themselves in alignment. You say it's a very 2025 thing. It is and it isn't. It is and it isn't. You know, Bubba Cunningham, to tie it back to him real quick, he knows full well that what he wants and what the money people want aren't always the same thing. And as we saw in the case of Bill Belichick, the money people ended up winning. Or in the case of Hubert Davis, feels like Roy and the family ended up winning in those situations. So the AD wanting something and others wanting something, sometimes it's a power struggle. And from the beginning, the impression that I always got was, yeah, I know what the money people want, but Boo's got his ideas.
Yeah.
So to see this thing, A, come together the way that it did, B, it actually end up with the choice that they wanted in the top target. NC State's not used to this sort of thing. And more importantly, and this is the thing that I come away with NC State on their way to hiring Will Wade. We've talked a lot this season about John Shire, Duke, in relation to Carolina and Hubert Davis. That John Shire and Duke, they understand what college basketball is today. They're a blue blood. They're going to run like a professional organization right down to a general manager. Carolina is being dragged into this modern era, having the cold realization, hey, man, just because we're Carolina doesn't work anymore. We also have to play this game. And they've, whether you say it was too late or not, they've finally gotten with the program, with hiring Jim Tanner, a general manager, understanding that money is the move. Let's go. NC State also operates in this too. NC State knows what they are now. They understand what their role needs to be. And Will Wade is honestly, of all the coaches that could end up at NC State, given the dynamics of the area and given the dynamics of today, you need a dude who understands the game and can get people behind him to play said game. This is about going from, in 2017, hearing strong-ass offer and going, no, that's bad. The FBI, bad, strong-ass offer, to no. You need strong-ass offers in order to get the kind of players that you want.
It's funny. My wife Jessica's here, and she said today, like, you know, are you sure NC State really wants to get into this business with Will Wade? And I was like, it kind of reminds me of somebody who might be in jail for marijuana.
Right?
Like, yeah, like 5 years ago.
It was a big deal.
You can get in trouble.
Not now. It's legal
now
everywhere
it's like,
now.
Well, walk down any street in any city.
It bothers me. Oh, you served a show cause, this and that. I'm like, right. Under the rules.
The old rules.
That were in place in 2017. Those are no longer the rules. So I don't understand why people are having this hard time, like to your point about marijuana or any other thing. Times change. I've said this about Carolina, by the way, in terms of the great troubles with football.
Sure.
Like, it just happens to be
Robert
that,
Quinn got a watch.
oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Like, think about that. If the
Cooper
rules,
Flagg's making $5 million this year. Like, what are we doing?
If the rules existed back then, how they exist today, we're not even talking about the dominoes that happened at Carolina, for heaven's sake. So these are all things that change over time. And if we all recognize the game has changed, then your general attitude towards Will Wade and what exactly he did has to change as well. And of course, what I've always maintained as it relates to the FBI scandal, which wasn't really a scandal. It was the FBI getting involved with the NCAA's kangaroo court. And if you think Adidas was bidding against itself, folks, that's not how this works. Adidas was spending that money because others were spending that money. Adidas might not have been as good as Nike, but they were still playing that game. So that's kind of where we're at. But Will Wade, going to be the next NC State coach. Who knew?
Will Wade's a really good coach, too, by the way. And if you just saw the one clip of him yesterday when asked about NC State and whether you're thinking, will he be a fit at NC State? There's your answer. I mean, the wink, the nod, the whole thing was perfect.
It really was. That clip that you're talking about, this is from our guy, James Henderson, over at Inside Pack Sports. This was during that press conference. He was asked about talking, and I do have some extra thoughts on this. Oh, this is like really low, is it not?
Actually, the visual's all you
Well,
really
the visual's all you really need in this situation. I just went. Okay. Yeah, for some reason the audio is not playing. It is what it is. But you see that smile.
Looks to the side,
see that smile.
looks over here.
You
big
see that smile. I'll say this. I'm just glad a coach finally admitted it. I don't know what the harm in that is.
And in fairness to him, before he answered that question, he had talked about how he has been open and upfront with his players this whole time. And this gets to your galaxy brain theory. He told Heath Schroyer at McNeese, Heath Schroyer, former NC State assistant, current AD, he told him, I'm going to be here for 2 years. I promise you I'll be here for 2 years. Do you want to do your theory now, or are you saving that for the big finale?
Let's save it.
Save it? Okay.
This is where we go into old radio rules. So let's get the tease, and then we'll give the payoff to the tease.
I'll put it this way. He has been open in his communication with his boss and his players.
Yep.
So people who are mad at me today, or if you're out there somewhere, I saw some clips, you're mad at me for breaking news. I work for OG Media. I work for Joe Giglio. I worry about Joe Giglio and OG Media. I don't work for McNeese. I don't work for State. I don't work for anyone else. So I'm doing my job, looking out for me. Understand.
Can I put it in more general terms? You're doing a journalism.
I mean, there is and there isn't.
No.
You know what I mean?
There is journalism. There's doing what you're supposed to do as a journalist. Don't confuse that with team-affiliated sites.
Okay. Well, because there was someone
doing...
who texted you yesterday
who
said, like, hey, I couldn't quite shake this loose.
Yes. Yeah,
and that wasn't a team site.
No. What you're referring to is something that bothered me that I saw online where it's like, no, people who cover sports break news in this fashion. You don't allow universities to get, quote unquote, their wish over how something's supposed to play out. If that's what you want, then you're an NFL insider and you're just getting information from agents, and all you're doing is reading the news of a press release 5 minutes before the press release. That's not the same thing, okay? And I'm not saying this in any derogatory way towards a fan-affiliated site like a Pack Pride or like an Inside Pack Sports. They have a different role than what we do, and oftentimes those fan sites cover recruiting specifically. We're almost working like a symbiosis.
No, there's
that promote both
there's
the university.
There's
an understanding.
Yeah. I'm not knocking that.
And I ain't not. To be clear, I ain't knocking the hustle.
People pay for recruiting coverage,
but
that's them looking out for their business.
The point that I'm making, though, is that is a different role than what we do or what you do and how it works out. Anyway, let's take some sports phone calls while we get ready to talk to our guys, Jimmy and Jared.
Okay.
Here at Jimmy's, so we can kind of set this up. So let me, or you just want to turn the camera around now and hand him the camera?
Yeah, let's talk to Jimmy and Jared.
Let's do that.
Can you guys hear us?
You guys can hear us, right? You're loud. I'm loud too.
Okay.
It's fine. It's live podcasting
They don't
here.
have headphones.
So grab that microphone, Jared. So here we go. We'll turn the cameras around and we'll get it. Here. So watch. What? Got it?
There they are.
Oh, that's perfect. We got the disco lights kicking and all that kind of stuff. It's perfect. All right.
You guys can't see it, but you look amazing.
You guys look amazing. And now Joe is doing the hostage video style here. Jared, Jimmy.
Look, I improved the
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Hey, you got it in there, man. That's a beautiful thing.
All right, so how long has this place been open, man?
Well, man, first off, thank you, fellas, for setting up shop here down here, man.
Thanks for having us out.
NC legends out here, the OGs. Let's go, man. Thank you so much. Man, just this last year was our 10-year anniversary, man.
Okay.
Wow. It's been a bar for 61 years. It's been a bar for 61 years. But about 10 years I got it and just kept the tradition going.
So when did the money on the walls and the ceilings become the tradition?
Oh, man, day one. It's something that somebody can come in and say, you know what, man? We just got married.
Yeah.
Bachelorette party. You're just hammered and you got $1 left.
Let me just put it
It's
on the
not
wall.
enough for a beer, but you know what, man? Let's put it up on the wall, man. See if it's there next week.
Now, how many times do you have to tell people these are not for tips? This is
Oh,
not how you
Lord.
pay for your tab.
Let me tell you how many times it's like the PBRs are actually $2, bud, and he comes back with a giant something written on the dollar. And you're like, I can't. I can't do this.
No, that ain't the move. That ain't
Jack
the
and
move.
Bev 2024 on it. We're like, whoa, man,
No,
come
man,
on.
it doesn't work that way.
So my real question is, did you guys watch Arrested Development?
I've seen it.
Okay. At what point do you have to say, there's always money in the banana stand? Like at some point.
Let me tell you,
buddy.
during COVID, we had to shut down for 200 days. You know, it started as like, it's going to be 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We were cooking like Wagyu and crab legs in here. And then it was like, all right, it's going to be a month, 2 months. And then it's 200 days. We started looking around like how much money do you think is actually on these ceilings right now, man? Like we could really hey,
People would come in all the time and say, Jimmy, man, you have to be struggling after 200 days. Do y'all need any money? Are you good? I said, when you walk in here and you see me pulling these dollars off, you know I'm in trouble. But until then, I'm good, all right?
Then you know. Now, wait a second. We're really here because of the slushie.
Yes.
Okay.
Who cooked up the slushie?
what, man?
Who gets credit?
Who gets credit for the slushie?
A couple of us about 8 years ago came up with the recipe, and it's just taken off beyond belief.
You want to give it away, or there's only one flavor? There's
Well,
no, don't give it away.
Don't give it away.
I'll tell you what. We're the largest D. Betty grapefruit account in the world and the largest yellow tropical Red Bull account.
On the East Coast.
Yeah.
On the East Coast?
Actually, largest.
It might be yeah, I mean it might for yellow it might be
Okay.
international,
Back and forth with Harris Casinos.
Oh,
Yeah.
with the casinos.
Yeah,
Jeez.
casinos.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 o'clock in the morning trying to,
Do you have like raw numbers on how many of these cups you've sold in a year?
So last year was right around 120,000 individual slushies sold. That's not even counting our large ones we do or the floaters on that. But it's
Okay.
yeah.
I love it.
It's a serious drink.
But it's serious. But here's the thing: once you get past that floater, this
Yeah,
goes down
and
way
then
too
you're like,
easy,
oh, it's
man.
slushy.
Look, man. I
This
mean,
goes down way
it's
too
all
easy.
about the vibe, man.
No, you're
It's-
right. You're right.
You know,
Immaculate.
it's your girlfriend or your mom's favorite bar. There's dogs here all the time. Dogs are
Yeah,
welcome.
I
There's
think it's
dogs
great.
on the bar.
The hat.
You just came in off the beach. It's 90 degrees. You're going to want a slushie.
Yeah, no, that makes
You're going to want a slushie.
that makes sense. That makes
It's
sense.
a Thursday in March. Is this normal?
I mean, when legends are in the house, bro,
no.
they-
Something tells me this is just a normal day that ends in Y for you guys. Just people having a good time on a nice day.
We
Jared,
do have a true legend, though. Eddie Biedenbach
Oh, yes,
is
he
here to
is.
talk to us. Thanks to our friend Jay for setting us up. That's why we're here, too. Jay,
Honored
our
to have
mutual
him.
friend.
Yes.
absolutely.
So
Jay-
we're
Jay's our
excited to
guy.
ask Eddie about Rod Brindamore, Thanksgiving stories.
Oh, yeah.
And, David Thompson, did you really get in trouble for paving his driveway?
That's awesome.
Well, beautiful thing about Jimmy's, man, there's dollars on the wall, but you know what? It's a place where you can feel comfortable. Come as you are, pull up. Doesn't matter how you dress. Come enjoy a slushie, be with your friends, enjoy some daytime drinks, see some dogs,
Now-
have some good fellowship, watch some sports on the TV, man. It's what it's all about.
I'm also going to be honest with you. Jay was like, we're going to go to Jimmy's. And I didn't know the name. I knew this place,
Yeah.
right? I pull up and I'm like, oh,
It's this
this place
spot.
is iconic. This place is a landmark. What are you talking about? Like, he's like, these people might want to advertise with you. I'm like, He's advertising.
Let's work. Hey, let's work.
Hey,
Man, let's work.
You tell me,
Let's give away the game.
Joe out here like, Joe, you're always messing with the money, and you're telling you don't need to advertise. No, you don't say that.
Although, here real quick. All the sports on the TV, these hard-hitting slushes. Are you a Panthers guy, Jared?
Man, we are diehard Panthers fans down here at Jimmy's at Wrightsville Beach.
The last couple of years, there's no way to watch Panthers football without this bad boy.
I tell you what, man, every Sunday, dude, we give away Traeger grills, PS5s. Panthers are losing by 30, and we are going crazy up in here, dude.
You have to give stuff away.
The original home of Panther therapy.
But that's the thing, man. If you're a fan, you're a fan. Not if they're just, not winning. Through the highs and the lows.
Of course.
And you get to grow with them and say you were there from, from when they weren't. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to.
Right around the corner.
Hey, man, well, I appreciate both of y'all for having us out, set this up.
Hey, thanks for having
This is the first time in the 2 years we've been doing this podcast. We have been on like a little band stage like this with the lights. I love it. Absolutely. So
fellas, thank you for having us, man.
Man.
Cheers. I'm ready to have you back, man. We're going to build this season. Come back down in the summer. Slushies on the house.
Thanks,
we
man.
got you, man.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, fellas. We
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, we're doing all this stuff live here on YouTube, so bear with me for a second. All right, let's go to the OG Sports phone real quick before we do a little bit of housekeeping, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this came to us from a 252.
Guys, where are you? What are you doing? Will Wade is being announced as State's head coach. Why is there not an emergency podcast? What am I supposed to do? Tell me what I'm supposed to think. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. I need you guys. Please? We got Will Wade! Oh, I forgot one other thing. We need Joey Giggs telling us what to think. I mean, he's the source that broke it. Congrats on being sourced by everybody in the basketball world. I'm glad now that everyone outside the triangle is now listening to you guys. When, with the other basketball news that happened recently with the NCAA Tournament, everyone said y'all are wrong. I'll let y'all enjoy that bit of vindication. Laters.
The reason why there was no emergency podcast yesterday, I texted you. For the record, I texted you.
Yeah.
Should we go emergency mode? And you're like, we'll just wait till tomorrow. It's all good. And I felt like that was a birthday gift to me.
Yeah.
After having done some podcast stuff in the morning.
85 different emergency podcasts.
All the emergency podcasts we've done. You also were looking out for me, and that I had to go to the DMV to get a renewed driver's license. Let me tell you what's more humbling than your 46th birthday. Having your 46th birthday, go to the DMV to get a new license and see your old license photo versus your new license photo.
Oh.
License photo when you're I'm guessing ballpark 28, 29, 30.
For real?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, it's a 15-year picture.
Dude, do I look like this anymore? No. Now, I'm going to see if I can hold it up to the camera so you don't see all of my driver's license. Look at that. Oh, wait. Look at that guy. That guy doesn't exist. That guy doesn't exist anymore, right? Anyway, so that's why we didn't do an emergency podcast yesterday. A, let it marinate a little bit. B, hey, man, I was in the freaking DMV all afternoon.
But thanks to CBS and ESPN for the credit. For real.
All right, let's go 919.
Lee Fowler, Debbie Yao. They didn't have that key missing piece to bring it home. What is that piece, you may ask? The NC State Burnerverse, baby. Manifested, willed their way to get Will Wade. Let's go.
So I did see somebody in your mentions going, well, Joe, the Burners had it first. They had it last week.
They did.
So, every coaching search brings a new wrinkle to it, right? You go back to, we talked about flight tracking. Well, flight tracking goes all the way back to the Herb Sendek off to the desert Lee Fowler coaching search when NC State fans discovered, oh, wait a minute. How about we use this FlightAware to track the big booster and where he's going,
playing.
Right?
Yeah.
I felt like this coaching search, well, it did have a FlightAware element to it with blacked out numbers that people ended up going to the dark web to find transponder codes. to find out where flights were going. That was a new wrinkle to it. I did feel like, at least in the triangle, burner's not new, but in the triangle, the burners really did kind of dominate and flood the social media zone, because that did not exist with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick hire was more about the insiders, the NFL insiders fighting the college insiders. That was an interesting wrinkle to the search. This one was more along the lines of burners being adamant about Will Wade for the last couple of weeks, ended up being true.
Well, I think that's why I say 2025.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to the collective and ask for the money, well, guess what?
Collective's going to be active.
They're going to have information, and that information is going to get filtered down.
Yes.
And that's just a part of it. But to your point, we can all give this away now. I mean, Wendell Murphy's brother was Colton Tudor's fraternity brother.
Joe, don't give away all the secrets.
So the way I came up in different searches, Wendell helped Toot. That was the thing. If you think about it, it's really no difference than whoever is contributing to the collective. Yeah. Obviously not at Wendell's level.
Yeah.
But it's a similar. If you're going to ask for money from a bunch of people, they're going to want to be informed.
Yes.
And anyone who's ever run one of these searches knows the fewer people who know, the better. The more people who know, the more you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and now, like, to your point, asking a bunch of people for a bunch of money, you're going to have the Chris Corcianis of the world tweeting out. No, did you see what Corch tweeted out yesterday morning?
No, I did not.
He's like, just driving down, all caps, Wade Avenue on this lovely day. I was like, I see you, Corch.
I wonder what that means.
I see you, Corch. All our ACC coverage brought to you by Keller Williams Commercial. The Donnelly team, Brian and Julie, can help you out with your warehouse space. Do you need a warehouse for all the dollar bills that are on the roof right now, on the ceiling? The ceiling is the roof, so you can get a whole bunch of new dollars. They might have that for you, aka a bank. But you know what? Sometimes you want to keep it off books. Makes total sense. Or you just want to have a spot for all your slushy stuff. There you go. It's just that simple. Brian and Julie can help you out. The Donnelly team. TriangleNCCommercial.com or 919-616-8681. All right, let's go back to the sports phone.
Hey, yo. Burns? Happy birthday, Joe. It's your brother. I hope you get to enjoy your day getting to make an emergency podcast about how NC State men's basketball hired Will Wade on your birthday. Although I probably won't find out about that episode until a week or two from now, because I'm a psychopath who has to complete every podcast at 1.5 times speed in chronological order. I'll call you later. Love you. Bye.
My brother is a sicko.
That was nice.
That was very nice. I talked to him yesterday for a little bit. But yeah, he's usually slow on listening. He wants to listen to all the podcasts, so he just doesn't. He's not up to date. And I'll occasionally get a text from something, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, that was the podcast from 2 days ago." I'm like, "Buddy, I've moved on, man. I've moved on." All right, 2828.
Hey, Joe and Joe. Trying hard not to crash out here. Excited about the Will Wade news. Congrats, Giglio, on seeming to be the one to break it. But what's making me want to crash out, I open up the replies, and the first thing I see is a Carolina fan with improper grammar making a comment about him bringing along sanctions. Listen, I'm not even going to beat the dead horse of the fake class scandal. I'm not even going to bring that up right now. Can we talk about, we both hired a marquee coach in the last year. Our guy did something that's no longer even illegal. Your guy, we got Deflategate, we got Spygate, and unrelated to sports, I mean, you can feel how you want, but 24-year-old girlfriend, I'm going to choose to be the morality police on this one. Gross. Carolina fans, the level of lack of self-awareness is just, man, drives me up the wall. Anyway, Will Wade, welcome to Raleigh.
I think the general sense of
we're not mad at the Tar Heels right now. Tar Heels are our people right now.
Of course. Tar Heels, like I said the other day, the Tar Heels and this podcast are very much the onion meme. Worst person you know makes a great point, because we've been pointing out that new metrics, and Bubba's doing work, man. He's getting people to rethink how you assess teams. He's making it so that West Virginia loses their coach to Indiana and then sets things up for NC State.
He was just looking out for State, not Carolina.
You know what? Bubba Cunningham for commissioner. Let's go.
We already had one of those. Now, come on.
Nah, okay. Just saying. Anyway, let's do a little housekeeping, shall we? Housekeeping is I might have had that first slushy a little too fast.
Did you finish it?
I'm getting there. You know me.
It's like you're way better than I am.
I'm a fast drinker, man. Anyway, as we mentioned, we're at Jimmy's here in Wrightsville. Big thanks to them for having us out. We will be, we're on the road, baby. So we're here at Jimmy's today. We're going to be at Longleaf tomorrow in downtown Raleigh. We're going to be recording an OG mailbag.
Are you worried about my stamina tomorrow? I am.
I'm not. I believe in you. Just get some sleep. Plus, you'll be passed out after this. You'll sleep like
You're around. I'll sleep on the drive home.
You are absolutely sleeping on the drive home. Jessica thankfully, is going to drive. We have a DD, by the way, folks.
Yes.
We have a DD.
No one called the police on us.
Jessica Giglio is with us. We are good. And she does not drink, so we are in great shape. No, so tomorrow we're going to be at Longleaf. We're going to record an OG mailbag at Longleaf tomorrow at 11:30. We strongly encourage you, if you're in town, to drop by Longleaf.
Oh,
and
we're doing
ask
live in
questions.
person.
Ask us questions. We're going to give you a mic. An in-person mailbag. Just grab the mic, ask us a question.
Of the people for the people.
I cannot make it any easier than that. And then with Duke playing at 2:50 and Carolina playing Ole Miss at 4 o'clock, is there any reason to leave Longleaf, Joe?
Only for a nap.
So we will be there hanging out at Longleaf for the games, and we will be doing an after dark on pickleback shots later in the evening. Oh, I'm ready.
Rumple or pickle?
Pickle. You will be doing rumplements. So, yeah, we're going to be at Longleaf tomorrow. Check out longleafswine.com. Now that the year of the hangover is officially over, everybody's finally had hair of the dog. They've recovered.
Started.
Well, for you, it might not be over. But for NC State, for NC State, the year of the hangover is officially over. It's done. You've recovered. You've had your recovery drinks. You've pounded a bunch of Pedialyte. You are ready to go. You're ready for the Will Wade era. Well, guess what? That also means that the Drunk OG Year of the Hangover shirt, we're closing up shop on it. So get your orders in by Saturday. Go to the podcast description, go to the YouTube description. You'll see the link for the Year of the Hangover shirt. And again, it closes on Saturday. Once the shirt goes away, it's going away. It's over. It's a limited edition situation. Maybe there'll be hoodies later, but there will never be shirts again. So maybe a hoodie, but never shirts.
Maybe.
But definitely.
Hey, good job, Louisville. Wait, hold on.
Did they lose? Is it over?
89-75.
Dang, man. Absolutely brutal. Speaking of the NCAA tournament, there is a breeze through right by Lenovo Center. So if you're headed down for some NCAA tournament action, drop by the breeze through, stay hydrated. Hey, you got to stay caffeinated. May I inform you that it is 2 for $1 on Celsius right now, along with deals for Zyn, along with cheap Aquafina and various other Pepsi products. It's all at Breeze Through throughout March. So drop on by any of their locations. But I know a lot of people are going to be busy going to Lenovo Center for some action. And by all means, get that Celsius, get those Zyns, and keep it moving. Hey, NC State hired a basketball coach. Do you think they'll win a game on the road next year? Maybe.
I will say Will Wade's very skinny.
Does he need to go to 2 Roosters and get
we all do
and bulk up a little bit? Is that something that he could do? Just a thought. 2roosters.com. They got all sorts of core flavors that are delicious, but really you keep going back because every month they've got these new concoctions because Jared is getting it done. And of course, they are proud supporters of Wolfpack Athletics. You can get 2 Roosters while you are at the arena, by the way. 2 Roosters is going to be slinging ice cream throughout the deal. So go.
Oh, the soccer too.
And the soccer as well. So speaking of the soccer, NCFC and the Courage, they got their home opener. Well, I'm sorry, the Courage have their home opener on Saturday. And they've got 2 locations over at WakeMed Soccer Park.
The Roosters do.
The Roosters do. They got one by the FanFest area, and they got one by the big Carry sign near the main entrance. So they will also be at Lenovo Center all day today and all day Sunday at all their locations.
Let me speak directly to the Hurley family. Jersey recognizes Jersey. College basketball is a year-to-year proposition. You're going to be at the Lenovo Center this weekend. Hit up the 2 Rooster locations. the Slavin Sunday is actually the best bang for your buck in the arena. So Bobby, Danny, Mama, Mrs. Hurley, everyone, go get a Slavin Sunday.
Perfect stuff. And Miller Lending, we thank them for jumping aboard as a corporate champion. Check them out, millerlending.com/theog. You will be getting a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket when you get that thing going for a refinance. Now you're thinking,
we'll have that on display tomorrow.
I'm excited about that. Here's the thing with Miller Lending. It's not so much about refinancing to get to a lower rate. It's more about consolidating debt at this point. We get it. Rates aren't at these historic lows, but rates fluctuate all the time, and we might get there. And if they do get there, guess what? You didn't pay closing costs, so you're saving money the whole entire time. You're not putting this upfront cost into refinancing your home. Why does that matter? Well, typically people refinance about every 4 years. If you were to pay to buy down that rate with closing costs, typically takes about 8 years to break even on that. You see where the math ain't mathing. You know what else is not mathing? Your credit card interest rates versus these interest rates. So consolidate debt with our friends at Miller Lending. Get the process started now. MillerLending.com/theog or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Tell them we sent you.
That was a true pro read right there.
You know, what's funny is when I go into
we're in a bar, dimly lit.
I know.
Drinking a slushy.
The funny thing is when we go into Miller Lending mode, I actually go back into radio mode.
I know.
It's like riding a bike.
I know.
Feels good. Mitch Northam, WUNC-FM, SB Nation, and of course the women's basketball podcast here with OG Media on our YouTube channels. Joining us now on the Easter Automotive Group Hotline. Mitch, what up?
Woke up this morning, found myself in NCAA Tournament.
I love it.
It applies at all levels.
I love it.
Indeed.
So how does the Will Wade hire impact Wes Moore at NC State, Mitch? No, anyway.
Not sure. We'll have to find out. Maybe Wes Moore can learn to make some strong ass offers to women's players as well to help him keep this thing rolling.
And so we've been talking about the ACC on the men's side of things, doing the most with not a lot of squads. Louisville is on the way out, unfortunately. Look, that was a tough. People were mad about that seed. I completely understood, and it's coming to fruition. Even though they got that home court cooking in Lexington, but Creighton was going to be a tough out regardless.
Did they?
But is it over? Yeah. It's over. But I think they got home court cooking. I think they did. It's not that far for the Louisville people to go, dude. Even in Lexington. Anyway, I digress. The point that I'm making, Mitch, is that we only had 4 squads. ACC women's side, totally different. And I wanted to talk big picture before we drill down.
Yeah.
The NCAA women's tournament actually has units now. The ACC has been adamant about shaking as much money as possible. And while we can talk about the men's side and the NCAA units, now that this is happening on the women's side and having 8 teams in the ACC, it's a very crucial NCAA tournament for the women's side as it relates to the ACC as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. So the ACC got 8 teams into this year's tournament for the 7th consecutive year, which is pretty impressive, and I think is the longest streak for any conference for getting that many teams in. And yeah, for the first time ever, we got units in women's college basketball. I believe the price of a unit this year for the women's game is around $113,000. So, you go to the Final Four, you're probably close to $1 million or something like that. Math is not the best subject, but, so it's a big deal. The other thing is with the ACC, women's basketball is part of the Success Initiative. Mm-hmm. So teams who are going to get units and win games in the NCAA tournament, that is more money for your school specifically. You're going to get a bigger share of the pie for an ACC program as opposed to a league that doesn't have this sort of Success Initiative that the ACC has under its new model after Florida State and Clemson did a whole lot of complaining.
All right, so let's talk about the other big picture thing. What people mad about a potential Duke-Carolina matchup a little too early on in this thing? We were talking to Josh Stein, governor of North Carolina. He was doing the brackets.
Not happy.
We did the men's brackets, and we briefly discussed the women's bracket. He was not happy about that Duke-Carolina matchup being so early potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a whole lot of people are mad. I think more people are mad about the fact that Carolina and State's games are the exact same time this weekend.
True.
I think that is what people are more mad about. I think the hard thing about the tournament this year, I mean, the men's side has to adjust to this too, is like with the Pac-12 imploding, all these teams had to go somewhere, right? And so all these conferences ballooned, and now it's harder to pair teams up in a certain way where, you might not get a Duke Carolina matchup until the Elite Eight or the Final Four. I think the ruling is in the past, like if you're a conference opponent or you play twice in the regular season, I think the Sweet 16 is the earliest that you can meet. So that's what we have here. If Duke Carolina played one more time, like in the ACC tournament, then I think that would have forbid them from playing that early. But, where we are now, Sweet 16 down in Birmingham, that could be a lot of fun.
How do we think the ticket sales are going, Mitch? I'm a little bit worried about having 3 sites in the triangle at the same time.
So I was told that NC State, I think, is sold out or close to sold out for their sessions for the Wolfpack. I was told here at Duke that they've sold more tickets already than they sold in total when they hosted 2 years ago. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign. And I think things will go well, at Carolina. This is the first time that they're hosting in Courtney Banghart's tenure. So I think things will go pretty well. Fans and media members around here do kind of have to make a choice between the State and the Carolina games if you're someone who just loves college basketball. But I think we're going to see some decent crowds here.
Mitch, we are at a bar.
Mitch, we are at a bar
in Wilmington.
No, totally.
Wrightsville.
The people are trying to give us more slushies. I'm going to take slushie number 2.
We got beers.
I'm questioning whether or not I should do slushie number 2, but
hammer the slushie.
I'm not doing slushie number 2.
I will be doing slushie number 2.
I cannot, especially if tomorrow is another drinking day.
Mainly because I have a reputation to uphold, so therefore,
yeah, you do.
I have slushie number 2. Although, Mitch,
you can handle it, though.
You see me in action, Mitch, so you know I got it.
Yeah, slushies, bourbon.
Mitch can drink a little bit of the E.H. Taylor. Mitch knows.
Yeah.
Hey, man, the other night at ACC Hospitality, we were knocking back that brown liquor, right, Mitch?
That's right, yeah. And maybe, if NC State makes the Final Four again, we can open some more Colonel Taylor.
All right, so another big picture thing. Another strong showing for the ACC. Totally get that. Contextualize Westmore and an ACC, and Westmore and a Final Four run for NC State, the squad they had versus a Westmore squad this year, which got to the ACC tournament, lost to a very good Duke squad with Carol Lawson. Them finally getting off their title drought, right? Watch the banana stuff on the roadcaster.
We got natty lights, we got slushies.
Yeah, natty lights, we got slushies here, we got banana liqueur, hopefully not getting on the roadcaster because that's expensive.
That's on the top.
No, I know. Anyway, so back to my question.
Everybody tries to be a professional.
I try to be. Last year,
look at the lighting.
You know what? Let me put my question on a diet. What's the key difference between last year's NC State Final Four team and this NC State team, and what is their ceiling? Given that they had another strong year, they topped Notre Dame at home, they put themselves in position for a pretty high seed, got to the ACC championship. But what is this group about?
I think that the ceiling is probably the same. I think that NC State really, got a favorable draw and has a manageable path to the Final Four. When you look at the bracket, they don't have to play South Carolina. They don't have to play UConn. They don't have to play Juju Watkins and USC.
Yeah.
I feel like LSU is going to get upset by Florida State in the second round. LSU's 2 top players are dealing with injuries. One of them didn't play in the SEC tournament. So you look at kind of the path. I think NC State is a pretty easy path to the Elite Eight. And then there's a potential matchup with UCLA, who, if you listen to the women's basketball podcast, Mia and I don't necessarily totally believe in. UCLA, in simple terms, don't got that dog in them, I don't think.
Okay.
Now, UCLA does have a 6'7" center in Lauren Betts, and she could pose some problems. But I think Tilda Trigger has handled herself very well. NC State really started on this run that took them to the ACC title game when she started playing well. My question for UCLA would be, what you going to do with all these guards? How are you going to stop Isaiah James, Zoe Brooks, Sinai Rivers? I don't think UCLA is equipped to do that. So I think out of the 3 triangle schools, they have the easiest or most manageable path to the Final Four.
All right, we'll get out of here on this. I'm curious. I know the easy answer, the difference between last year, Caitlin Clark, and this year without Caitlin Clark is that you also didn't have the Angel Reese component, right? There was this rivalry. It's the Jordan versus Bird dynamic. Yes, there is a white and black dynamic too. Like, I'm not going to act as though that wasn't a factor in last year's storytelling and narrative that came around with Caitlin Clark. But it's not like interest in women's college basketball dipped. They had great ratings again this year.
Yeah.
And yet, nationally, there doesn't seem to be the same sizzle in terms of storylines because I guess there's nothing necessarily baked in. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why is there nothing really baked in? Like, I don't know about you, and maybe it's because of NC State. I know Paige Becker, she's that freaking good. She's really fun to watch, right?
And I think you saw, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at all the data, all the viewership stuff, the viewership is actually up this year for regular season games.
So what is the disconnect from overall viewership being as good or better than last year, and yet in terms of national talking points, we're really not getting a lot with women's college basketball, other than obvious?
Yeah, I think for the national talking heads, it's like there's a lack of that really fiery thing to latch onto that Caitlin Clark, you know, last year she was chasing that scoring record all regular season. That was the thing to grab onto. And then Angel Reese, she had drama early in the season, and then those two met in the Elite Eight again. So you had all that drama with the two of them. That was something for the national folks to latch onto. I think the committee is trying to create something basically like that again, trying to figure out if you know, they can create something with this Paige Becker's Juju Watkins thing. They're basically on a collision course to play in the Elite Eight for the second time in as many seasons, the third time in the past 2 years, third time in the last year, actually. So I think you saw the committee, you know, their job is to make a television show.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do with that potential Elite Eight matchup there, is give you some juice on the Juju Watkins, Paige Becker's thing. Which in the regular season, you know, Fox carried that game in December. I think it had a college football playoff game lead in, and it did a really, really good number as far as something that's not the NFL. So I think if that matchup happens, you're going to see viewership spike, and you're going to see a lot of takes and stuff out of that game.
Gotcha. Mitch Northam, SB Nation, WUNC-FM, and of course, the Women's Basketball Podcast with me, O'Brien, which you can listen to on OG Media here on this YouTube channel as well. Mitch, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, fellas, drink up.
Yeah, we're a step ahead of you, my dude. All right, so we are at Jimmy's. We're doing all sorts of crazy stuff here live. Before we say hello to Eddie Biedenbach, who, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see he's already here. And we're gonna have to ask Eddie if the headphone level is too high or too low. Big thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Bugsbite.com is the website. It's warm. It's gorgeous out here in Wrightsville today. A little windy, but gorgeous. The pollen's going to be out. I can already feel it in my eyes, obviously. And now that that's all out, the critters are going to be out. You want to make sure that those mosquitoes are not bothering you during the summer. So get the treatments now. Again, that's bugsbite.com. Also, our friends at 1-800-Plumber and Air. The name is in the number. The number is in the name. So check them out, 1-800-Plumber.com. You can do HVAC, you can do plumbing. Bottom line, we are talking about upfront pricing. With upfront pricing, there's no games, there's no gimmicks, there's no surprises. I appreciate that sort of thing. And, of course, more importantly, we're talking about upfront pricing. Not just upfront pricing, but also 24/7 service as well. So hit them up, 1-800-Plumber.com. I'm going to have to sweat out some of this slushy tomorrow at some point, maybe Saturday. You know what that means. Our friends at O2 Fitness.
O2 Fitness, so much more than a gym.
Again, O2FitnessClubs.com. They also have our friends at Renew Physiotherapy and Luke Nutrition to make those healthier eating choices. And, of course, they've partnered with Thrive.co. LiveThrive.co is the website. With Thrive, it's a local company with telehealth that can help you on things like oral testosterone treatments and weight loss solutions. So again, all telehealth. Answer some questions online, and you're going to get going on the right path. And speaking of all this working out, our friends at Rowback. Mitch was rocking that Rowback. We love to see it. Giglio, not wearing the Rowback, but nothing's easy, Joe. Nothing's easy. So head on over to Rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Our guy Sam out in the Outer Banks, he was rocking his AV cart polo today for the NCAA Tournament.
Sam is the best.
Sam is the best. So go check out Sam and all's OBX coverage. And, of course, go to roback.com and use that promo code OG to save 20% off your order. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Hotline while we're hanging out at Jimmy's is NC State legend Eddie Biedenbach. Mr. Biedenbach, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's always great. It's great to see you guys down here.
We're having a great time here in Wrightsville. This is your spot, right?
No, it's not, but I live just up the street.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, that's his spot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, he's so well known in the community and everything. As I came in here today, I saw a lot of my friends that I see at other places. I'm not unknown around here, but I don't usually come. There's a lot of young folks come in the place here at Jimmy's, but I'm learning a lot more about it as I see some of my old friends here. I was surprised at the locals that come here that I know, and so
you can definitely tell there's a lot of locals hanging out today. I love spots like this. I love spots like this.
These guys are big time jocks, big time athletic followers, and they know everything about everything. I was talking to several guys, one in here who was NC State, and I actually was in school with his dad who played football at NC State. He was a freshman with Chuck Amato, and I saw him. We were in Puerto Rico. I was coaching UNC Asheville, but NC State was there. He was down to see NC State, and I sat and talked with him in the lobby of the hotel for a long time. And this is the next time I saw him. that was years and years and years ago. It's amazing who you meet when you're in a place like Jimmy's here at the beach, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, living here. Is because I see all my old friends in one of these places now and again.
I was going to say, there seems to be, just kind of talking to some of the locals, just casually dropping other, what I would call ACC legends that just happen to be out this way. It is kind of funny how that works. I mean, hey, look, if I had the ability to have a place out here, I would, for sure.
Right next door, Jimmy Hepburn, I bump into, was Bobby Crimmon's assistant. He's coach at New Hanover High School here for a while, but then he was Bobby's assistant at Georgia Tech. And so I would bump into him when we were playing games and now at the beach here. So it's great to have you guys down.
Coach, you were at a time at NC State when I got there. You worked for Les Robinson. I'm a guy from New Jersey. I didn't know anything until Carlton Tudor told me about you. And when you worked for Norm Sloan, David Thompson, right? Yes. What do you think David Thompson would be worth today in NIL money? Can we even put a dollar on it?
Well, it would be very, very high. I hear from him often, and he and Tommy Burleson, Monital, Phil Spence, all those guys are on a link. I don't know all that technical stuff.
Your text chat, your chat group.
They talk about that. And it's amazing when you hear the rumors. But I'm not really, I hear rumors about some guys are getting $4 million or whatever. Back in the day, you know, they always come up with these terms, NIL money, and we would always say, no, it's legal. That's what it stood for. But at any rate, that Thompson, he would be as high as anybody that's ever gotten paid.
And now, he wasn't eligible as a freshman. I try to tell people, think about his scoring average. No dunks, no three-point line, and he couldn't play a year, and he's still the leading scorer per game in the history of the league. That's kind of crazy if you think about it.
Dude, that was probably one of the most fun, as far as basketball goes, to watch that team in practice every day. And you would see the things that sometimes you don't see them on the court. Amazing how hard they practiced and how well they did. every day, and they did something new every day. And just going to practice was fun.
Best team you ever saw?
Yeah, I'll tell you, UCLA was in the same ballpark, and so was Maryland. And
Yeah, but people forget Maryland.
Carolina was just Carolina, just a hair behind, but just as good those years. For that team to win the games they won, and they played often, the guys 6 times a year before the tournament, those guys.
The Big Four, yeah.
It was an amazing time to see those games and how they tried to guard them and who they put on them, and nobody could guard them.
Now, I know you're a Wolfpack legend. Joe Ovies is a hockey dad, though. So now he knows about your grandson, Brooks.
And I can't skate.
And he knows about your son-in-law, Rod Brendamore, married to your daughter, Amy. So we got to get a Rod at Thanksgiving story from you. Or my guy, Greg Fry.
Well, we're guessing Rod works out well before anything happens at Thanksgiving.
It's amazing his consistency in working out and how hard he works out. And I know that when he was dating Amy and everything, I wasn't sure about him. I never trusted anybody that didn't drink.
That didn't drink. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, he is taught.
Can you imagine him with one of these? There's no way. There's no way.
But I'll tell you, he has shown me how he's coached his two of his sons on working out daily, doing these little drills, doing all these little things that you used to do. You think you did a lot until you've seen what he does on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And his two sons, Skylar, who's playing in Chicago now.
Right.
In the
AHL, yeah.
And the Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brooks, the 13-year-old, and what he does on a daily basis. It's amazing.
Coach, I tell people Brooks won the genetic lottery, but not because of Rod's side, because of Amy's side. You were a heck of an athlete, and it wasn't just basketball. I know this.
That's
I know
true.
this. It was a lot of sports.
There was a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on.
Amy was a real competitor.
No, she started the dance team at State when I was there. Amy and Tracy. Yeah.
I remember when she was first in swimming, the first swim meet she ever went to, she was swimming the backstroke. And she went off the
starting block.
Yeah, the starting block. And she jumped about 8 feet before she hit the water. I said, this girl's got it. She's going to make it. But anyway, she was good.
I was thinking about, I think it was this past summer when we talked to Rod, and he had just come back from the beach.
Yep.
And I guess he was out here. If I had to assume, he was out this way.
By you, I think. Yeah.
He was by you, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, again, getting back to that whole workout routine and the discipline and all this other stuff. He was like, oh, yeah, he had already had a full workout on the beach, walking on the beach, running on the beach, doing push-ups on the beach. It's like, that doesn't sound like a vacation to me. He's like, it does to me. I was like, all right, you and I vacation in different ways, for sure. I'm doing more of these than I am anything else working out on vacation.
I think Clint's got some Carolina takes. What do you got for us? There's some Carolina takes for us. What do you got?
No, takes. Some opinions. No, he's good. He's good on that. He's good on that. Well, Coach, we appreciate you dropping by. And thanks for coming out and hanging out and experiencing Jimmy's.
Hey, thank you guys for inviting me here, because I'll tell you, I'll stop back in once or twice in the future. But it was
just for us.
It was good to be here.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Oh wait. No, now we got Story here. We got Clint. We got hand clip the mic. Hand clip the mic.
Yeah.
Move the camera.
Yeah. I'll tell you a good when I'm coach. In the mid to late 60s, down here, I'm from Wilmington. We had one TV station, black and white, And on Saturday afternoons, we got to sail with Jefferson Pilot. The ship came on sail with the pilot. And that was the only ACC basketball we got to watch,
Once a week?
Saturday afternoon. Yeah. And my daddy called me in there to the game room one day and said, "Come here, son. I want to let you see. I want you to watch the best guard that's ever been in the ACC." And I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That Biedenbach guy there." He said, "Nobody can stay with him." So I think that's a pretty good story. Back in the mid-'60s when my dad, black and white TV, talking about how good Eddie Biedenbach was.
We talk a lot about these different sports and different, and these guys are all great fans from the old days. And I asked Kit Taylor one time, I said, "Who was the best guard that played in the ACC ever?" And he named, of course, Phil Ford and all these different guys. I said, "No, he played at Clemson." And everybody went, "Oh, who would that be?" Well, it was Skip Wise.
Oh, okay.
And he only played 1 year, and then he had to leave school. But he was, you compare David, they always want me to say, David Thompson was the best. Well, David was the best. But Skip Wise was the best guard.
I won't tell Monty you said that.
There were so many great guards at NC State. And I used to have a golf tournament, and I had all these guys playing in the tournament. And in the audience who played in the game was Vic Mullidet, All-American, played at Boston Celtics, Lou Pasillo, and all these guys. And I said, and Sidney Lowe, and all these different great players, and Monty Tao. And I said, maybe the best guard to ever play at NC State was Ken Roloff. And Ken was a great player. I used to watch all his tapes, but I didn't mention any of these guys out there. Lou Pasillo, Vic Mullidet stood up and he said, "Do you know Lou Pasillo sitting here?" And I changed my mind. Lou Pasillo, and named all those guys. It would have had a lot of great ones.
Eddie, we appreciate it. Thanks again.
Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
So we are gonna let
Coach,
me hit some music here, and we're gonna do some more stuff, and we'll get some more OG Sports phone calls.
Oh, hi. We're still live here. Hold on a second. Let me switch some things around here. You guys are getting the real behind the scenes on a live podcast for sure. Want to thank our friends at Happy and Hail. Happy and Hail, you can download the app today. With Happy and Hail, use that promo code OG25. OG25, clearly you're going to get 25% off one time. But take a screen grab of that. And either you can DM us, you can use our email, theoggoesdigital@gmail.com. With Happy and Hail, you use that promo code, you screen grab, you send it to us, you can be in the running for a Happy and Hail card, a metal card that's going to get you 20% off for life. And we understand how things are when you're for life, right? So big thanks to Happy and Hail for sponsoring this podcast.
Take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hail.
Now, speaking of the hockey breaks, I mean, we were talking about Rob Brindamore there for a second. The after darks don't stop when the basketball ends. We will absolutely be in playoff hockey mode for the Carolina Hurricanes with the after dark. So you want to stick around for that. Big thanks to our friends, Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhtr.com. You can buy, sell with confidence. The thing about the Triangle right now, it really is about maximizing the value of your home. These guaranteed cash offers, you're leaving money on the table. Why would you do that? Not in this market, not right now. So contact our friends at myhtr.com, and that way you can get somebody to pay the full value and maybe even a little bit more. Like my buddy found out the other day. He was looking at a house, and he said, I'll let somebody overpay for this thing. That's kind of where we're at right now in the market. So make sure you maximize that. You buy a house, you're taking it to closing, you got to do those closing documents, you got to go find a law firm for that. Well, do we have a spot for you? Our friends at Whitaker and Hammer, check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. And, of course, home field. Oh, wait, before we talk about home field, we're sitting here talking about houses. You bought that house? You need insurance for that house? You want to save money? Matt Davis, InsureGuard.com. Call him directly at 919-779-8277. That way you can save on home and auto. I am a State Farm customer. Great customer service, local, and a guy like Matt Davis is going to help you out. And, of course, as I mentioned, home field. HomeFieldApparel.com. They've got all these awesome retro-inspired designs. They've got the new Racing the Speed Weeks. We're talking Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, Indy, all sorts of great stuff. They introduced the new heavyweight shirts, which I know they're super, super trendy with the Utes. That's great stuff. And it's all at Home Field Apparel. And you can use that promo code OG24 to save 15% off your order. Again, that's OG24 to save 15% off your order. Yes, Joe. Let's turn your mic up here.
The cameras is cracking me up.
What's that?
The comment about the cameras is cracking me up.
Oh, I didn't see the comment on the cameras. What do we got here? What do we got here from Matt? Confusing that you have the camera switch between Ovies and Giglio on camera versus reality left and right. It's called I can't mirror them. That's why. If you want that true behind the
people, though,
I get it.
You know?
Look, I get it. Typically in the studio, Joe and I are sitting across from each other, and that's how the cameras are set up. But in the weirdness here, if we want to keep it consistent, unfortunately, I cannot mirror it, and that's why we are where we are. But you know what? Hey, man, the only thing I care about is the audio at the end of the day. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe, along with some OG Sports Phone from our guy Daniel. Hey, man, it's Ovies and Giglio. Turn it up.
I couldn't think of the name of the Freedom Rock.
I could not remember. I could not remember Freedom Rock either. So thanks to Daniel for putting that Photoshop together. For my guy Bluest Deuce, is this what it feels like to be an NC State basketball fan? Never been in this position before. Now he is a Carolina fan. And what he is referring to has to be the lead up to the Tuesday first four game for Carolina and the aftermath of them crushing San Diego State. And what I'm assuming what he means is, wait a minute, what is it like for people to dismiss you, think you don't belong, and then get great enjoyment when you stick it to them? When you, as Giglio likes to say, put it in their ear. I think that's what it's like. It's not a bad vibe, is it?
Welcome to the party.
Right, it's not a bad vibe. It's actually kind of a fun vibe if you think about it. If you're a State fan.
When you pipe them, though.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that. Oftentimes,
come on, Sean Padula, get out of the way.
Well, by the way, I love the actually Carolina fans were like, Sean Padula wasn't a Carolina killer. Look at his overall stats. Lol. I mean, there was.
I was in Brooklyn. I watched the game with my eyes.
Yeah, we saw that, right?
We tore him up.
We did see that aspect of it, right?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
Of course, the OG Sports Phone is brought to you by our friends at Nature's Relief. Check them out online, naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF, hempstore.com. Back to the OG Sports Phone. Let's stick with UNC before we get back into the NC State stuff.
Hello, I just want to tell you guys I love your show. I'm not a big sports radio guy, but you guys are great. So UNC became the first team in NCAA tournament history to score 95 or more points, shoot 50% or better from the field, shoot 50% or better from three, shoot 85% or better from the line, all in the same game. If you underestimate the Tar Heels, you have stepped in it. We love to be underestimated. That's when we are at our best. When you put us on the cover of Sports Illustrated at the beginning of the team and at the beginning of the year and tell us that we're going to win everything, shut up. You've just ruined our season. But tell us that we suck. Oh boy, you have bitten off a little bit more than you can chew of that barbecue sandwich. Go Heels. I am so happy and so proud. Thank you.
Sounds a lot like a law to me.
Was that Julius Hodge who called in? We want to be the underdog. We don't want the attention. And yes, to your point, is there a new law of the heel that I'm not aware of?
Nothing's easy, Joe.
What has happened to Carolina fans?
Nothing's easy.
This year must have broken them. My goodness. Nothing's easy, Joe. Here's the thing, though. It gets back to one of your axioms. If something good can happen to Carolina, it will. And the fact that they're in the tournament, everybody didn't want them to be there. That was easy bulletin board material. They crushed San Diego State. They can beat Ole Miss. What has to happen for you to finally get it through people's head that something good for Carolina will happen?
Well,
there is an Iowa State game on the docket.
If Lipscomb beats Iowa State, I feel like everyone comes around to my side.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Here's the thing. I know Carolina fans think I'm calling them lucky. I just want you to know this. I didn't save it, but I got an email because remember I bought the Carolina soccer shirt?
I remember.
So I got an email about the Nothing Easy shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm getting it. I told you I was going to get one. Do you know what the promo code was? Lucky. That was the promo code.
No, it wasn't.
I'm telling you.
That was the promo code?
If you go to the website, it's like shopheelswhatever.com.
Yeah.
The promo code is lucky. And I was
That's
like,
funny.
that's why Carolina fans get mad at me. I'm not calling you lucky. I'm merely saying to you, if something good can happen,
yeah,
it will. If's not an always.
Yeah.
It's an if.
I'm going to make it easy for our guy. I'm going to switch the cameras around so that way it's not.
You got it?
Like, it's not weird.
You
See,
feel better?
now it's better. You feel better now? Is that better now? Yeah, okay. There we go. All right, let's go to a 919.
NCAA moderator here. Just wanting to discuss the whole Will Wade situation. I texted my dad about this, and his response was typical NC State fan response. I hope he's not using this for leverage for a different job. Dad, who hurt you? Anyways, super pumped. Can't wait. But I don't think we're here without Kevin Keatts' run. I don't think we're relevant enough of a program without the Final Four run to get a hire like this. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you. I understand why we let you go, man. I'll miss you. I enjoyed you. But such is life. Out of my control. Here we are. Excited for Will Wade. Pour one out for Keatts. And then fill it up again for Wade, baby. Go, OG. Let's go, Pack. Also, congratulations, Tar Heels. I normally don't find myself pulling for y'all, but what I'm really hoping for, I really hope for a Final Four run. Not because I got a ticket on it. I do. But I also just really want to see the OG come out with another T-shirt. And this one's going to be a replica of the 82-83 shirt. And it's just going to say, why not both of us? So I hope Carolina's men's and women's team make it to a Final Four so we can pat each other on the back as we hug and say, we're back. We did it. Let's go, Pack. And please, please let this ticket hit. My baby boy could really use an upgraded nursery. Thank y'all.
I love it.
Just to follow the moderator up.
Damn.
Now, I didn't think they'd be a Final Four team. Come on.
No, nobody
I'm
thought
just saying,
that.
I thought they were a tournament team.
Yeah.
I thought they were being sold short by their own fan base. And now, legitimately, if you look at their bracket, it is favorable.
Very favorable.
Because 6-3, 11, as we saw from State back in 12.
Yeah.
When you get in that spot, that's actually kind of the sweet spot. 11 is actually a sweet spot. Because you're not with one and you're not with two.
Oh, right.
You would have to play two.
I got you.
To get to the 8.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting. From Rogers, longest voicemail ever. No, actually,
Hey, it's the moderator. Come on.
It's A, it's the moderator. B, that clocked in at about 1:40. Trust me, I got one for the mailbag tomorrow that's 3 minutes long, because that's the max at which Google Voice will let you leave a voicemail. All right, so this is another one from 919. Another 919, and I had labeled this one Wade, Texas, though, because moderator and some other calls that we got into the sports phone were worried about.
I've gotten those texts too.
About the rug pull. So let's play this and then let's explain the rug pull.
Hey guys, I'm calling at 11:59 p.m. following the Texas Xavier First Four game. I just thought of a scenario, and I maybe this has been thought of before, but the world in which Texas makes a quick move to fire Rodney Terry tomorrow morning, and the Texas job comes open before Will Wade shows up to Raleigh. That world exists. Or could exist, I should say, but, I'm just saying, watch this space. It would be funny. Thanks, guys.
All right, so you've received a lot of text about this. We've received a lot of calls about this. And there's the fear. I actually was on with Wesson Walker on WFNZ earlier this afternoon. I guess you were too busy to be booked for FNZ, so they went to the number 2 Joe on this.
I was on with them, Bone and Mac in the morning.
Oh, that would have, okay, because FNZ doesn't want to repeat guests throughout the day. What a concept. So, yes, they went to the B Joe on,
That's an amazing shirt,
on that
by the
particular
way.
topic. Yeah, we're recording. It's all good.
I like that shirt.
I like that shirt. That's a great shirt. The Dove. I love that. I love that. So I was on with Weston Walker today, and they actually had asked about the Texas job and the idea of a rug pull. And it's something that you and I were talking about on the drive over here. And it's something that I think it's worth you reiterating, and why it kind of gets back to the beginning of the podcast, is to the weird ebbs and flows of a coaching search. A lot of dominoes have to fall, or things have to stay in a particular place in order for things to necessarily work out. And coaches and the agents know this well ahead of the money people, sometimes well ahead of the ADs. Either I'm not interested, or I got word from another school. I mean, there's all sorts of permutations that play out. And I got to imagine that yesterday's news that you broke, which I saw your tweet finally.
Good.
I retweeted
Yeah,
it.
no, you got me blocked or muted or something.
I muted you again.
Yeah.
The point is that you don't have that news and then everybody follows suit without an understanding that regardless of what happens at Texas, this is what's going to happen.
Let's use a real world example here.
Sure.
I called one coach early in this process and said, what's up with Ryan Odom? Because that would match Bubba, that would match Boo Corrigan's background.
Yeah.
Right? Similar cultural thoughts, similar upbringing, the whole thing. And I was told very early, Ryan Odom wants the Villanova job. And I said, that makes a lot of sense. But Villanova hasn't fired their coach yet.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, sweet summer child. That is not how this process works.
No.
So these guys know, the coaches know, the agents know, the ADs know. And I suspect Texas, with their money, I think I advanced this to you already. Like, I think they might swing for Bill Self.
You did float that out there.
You know?
Like, hey, you want to change your pace? You've done what you can do at Kansas.
And
you want to come on down here?
Through it the last month of this season.
There's also a little bit of a break that happens at Texas, right? Like at Kansas, hey man, you're the show.
Yeah.
You're the show at Kansas. Texas, a little bit of a different vibe. It's like why I'd be curious to see what happens to Nate Oates in the future. He can name his paycheck at Alabama, but he can also lose in the Sweet 16, and people go,
nobody cares.
Cool.
Shrug.
What's the Boer doing right now with the spring game? So
I look at Texas and I say they're swimming in a different pool than NC State. That doesn't mean Will Wade's not a great coach.
Yeah.
It just means your fever dream of Billy Donovan wanting to leave the Bulls for you doesn't happen at State.
No.
Texas? Potentially.
Maybe.
You know?
Well, it's interesting about that. We got an 8-3.
Right?
We got a call from an 832 that I just simply labeled Texas therapy.
All right, Joe. I need a Longhorn therapy real quick. This relates to State. Don't worry about it. I watched the same team with two different jerseys on all season long. Just one place in the SEC. At this rate, just rehire Beard. I understand. With the entire understanding of that's crappy situations. Damn. I mean, if he's going to beat you in Ole Miss, why not just rehire him, please? I mean, at this rate, you never, ever, ever, ever. The day it happens, the city of Austin might burn down. They have never played a national championship game. That's right. Win a Final Four game the day that happens. Never win a national championship. You mean play in a national championship game. Kevin Durant and a coach of Tennessee now. I mean, just it's never going to happen. I'm sorry. In reality, if they even think about looking at Will Wade, I'm going to laugh my head off because there's no way in hell Chris Del Conte is that dumb. Well, he's not dumb. He stood in a graveyard waiting for the Texas A&M's baseball team to show up. But this is crazy to me. For the entire sake for Will Wade, just even if you haven't signed the contract or whatnot, just go to Raleigh. You're never going to even have it all life in Austin because you're never going to win it. You'll never win the national championship. And no matter what, you'll never win at Fog Island Fieldhouse, different conference, but still you'll never do good in the sport in Austin. I don't know what it is, but my God, they suck in men's basketball.
Yes.
I actually know the answer.
That's a Galaxy Brain take that you have better opportunities to win at NC State than you do at Texas and all their money. I love that take.
I do actually know the answer.
Okay.
And Shaka Smart proved this. Shaka Smart at VCU won with Baltimore and Norfolk players.
Yeah.
Tough city guards.
Yeah.
3-star, 2-star. Hey, they're tough. I don't care about your ranking.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to swear at Jimmy's, aren't I?
Yeah, you can swear at Jimmy's.
Yeah. You get to Texas, and it's, well, you know, this Houston AAU team, you got to recruit this 5-star kid from this Houston AAU team. Go look at Marquette's roster right now. Their best player is from Baltimore. You think that's an accident?
No.
No. You think he left Texas by accident?
No.
At Texas, they want you to not only play a certain way, but recruit certain players from the state of Texas, from a Houston AAU team in particular. They want you to juggle their balls. They want you to let them finish in your ear, do all the things, whatever you could dream of on the internet. But it's not your dream.
What websites
it's their
do
dream.
you go to?
There's something on the internet for anyone, I've been told. So there's a lot of like Mother May I at Texas.
Okay.
It's not build your own team.
Right.
You got to play a certain game.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Two more
Was that
sports.
second slushy hitting or no?
I hope I'm well enough on the second slushy to get into my NC State shit Galaxy Brain
Yeah,
take
you
to
gotta
close
hit
out
that.
the show. But we're going to do that after these two sports phone calls. This is from a 910.
Will motherfucking Wade! The premier basketball school in the Triangle is the North Carolina State University Wolfpack. Let's go.
Now, if Shire wins a title, which Duke is my pick, you can't be the premier, right?
No, you can't. You can't. From CrossFit, the 2 screen with the hand misaligned is nightmare fuel. Yeah, like I said, guys, we're not in my controlled studio environment. Part of the charm of this podcast is that we're misaligned. Okay, that's that simple. All right, from a 919.
Let's fucking go! Will Wade, let's fucking go! I told you, Giglio, as long as that blind cat in Montana was telling me Will Wade could come here, I was believing. Something you weren't doing. Let's fucking go!
Steve, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
Real quick, before I get into my Galaxy Brain take.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing this because you're my friend. I'm not doing this because you're my business partner. Sometimes I get mad at people online because they don't understand how these things work. None of this stuff happens in a vacuum. And it's like, I got a lot of like, what happened to Mike White? What happened to this? What happened to that?
Yeah.
And again, it all comes back down to the AD might have something in mind. The money people might have something in mind. Where do you come into an agreement on that? And I would say, regardless, what I don't understand is why is anybody trying to get one over on anybody in this particular case? If you're a State fan, you're not spending any time telling people they're wrong. You should actually be hyped about the fact that, well, wait a minute, the money people and the administration are on the same page for once?
Are aligned.
What? Like, yeah, man. Because that's honestly, and I think you had tweeted this, and I agree with you on this, because I was thinking about this too. When was the last time NC State got the number one, their top target in a coaching search?
That doesn't happen at any school, really, unless you're like a true blue blood or you're an SEC school that you're like, this is the guy that I want. For NC State, man, it's a history of weird-ass coaching searches that don't wind up where you want them to be. So the fact that it wound up where fans wanted it to be is a surprise. And that's actually probably the biggest shock in all of this, that it actually happened. Now, my Galaxy brain take on Will Wade getting to NC State. We referenced it a little bit earlier on the podcast, but I think it's worth repeating right now. Around this time last year, NC State goes on an incredible run. They go from a Tuesday in which Kevin Keatts was as good as fired going into that game. And really, as we were talking about around halftime, they were down to Louisville. Halftime. But instead, they turn things around. The rest is history. They win the ACC tournament. And, of course, they go on to the Final Four. So a guy goes from fired to not fired and a contract extension that was built into his contract. I declared then that NC State shit was dead. It's over. You cannot claim NC State shit anymore because of the fact that you finally won a championship in a sport you care about. And, of course, the path you took to get there.
It wasn't Pitt and BC.
It was not Pitt BC. It also was a missed free throw and a Michael O'Connell shot that usually rims out. That's NC State shit. Didn't happen. So it's dead. And forever, from here on out, you can always credit Kevin Keatts for officially killing NC State shit. But all throughout the year, people started going, well, are you sure it's dead? Because look at what's happening with NC State basketball. How can you go from winning the ACC tournament to not making the ACC tournament? How can you go to the Final Four to firing the guy after the fact? But Joe, NC State shit is alive and well. Wrong. On multiple reasons. The first one, let's go back to 2017. That ends up with the hiring of one Kevin Keatts. If they had hired Will Wade, who was a target at that time,
Number one target,
given the rules at that time and how things played out at that time, if Will Wade was making strong-ass offers at NC State, what happens?
He gets fired by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy gets a show cause.
Yep.
You know, like he did with LSU. NC State, because it's NC State and NC State shit, it's probably even beyond just whatever sanctions happen, right?
Yep.
I mean, they might have just disbanded the program for all we know, if you believe NC State shit.
In fairness, Debbie probably hires Kelsey, but different story.
Different story. You know what? That's another butterfly effect we can get into another day.
Right.
But again, to prove once again that NC State shit is dead, they didn't hire Will Wade in the first place. Now, here's another reason why NC State shit is not dead. Last year, oh wait, are we getting more alcohol? Or what's this? What are we doing here? What? Oh, geez, Joe, if you're gonna do the fireball and the natty, you got to do it on the camera now. Come on now. This is why people watch the YouTube, dude. This is why people watch the YouTube. What are we doing here? Wait, what is that? What is in there? What is in there? What is that?
Some sort of IPA.
Oh, no, you're not drinking an IPA. No, there's no way you're drinking an IPA on that one. Giglio just getting hammered over here, man. Just getting hammered over here. Anyway, all right. I think I've lost Joe to the drinking, so I will continue with my NC State shit is dead. So to recap, you can't hire Will Wade in 2017. All right. Kevin Keatts ends up winning the ACC championship, right? That keeps him at NC State for another season. When Will Wade took the job at McNeese, he promised them 2 years. So if Kevin Keatts is fired after the first half of that Louisville game, or the Louisville game ends, they lose on a Tuesday and they fire Kevin Keatts, well, you can't go after Will Wade because remember, He promised them 2 years. So he coaches another year. Kevin Keatts then does the thing that makes it super, super easy for Boo Corrigan to finally just pull the trigger on firing Kevin Keatts and the money people to be galvanized by the fact that it's time for him to go, because you cannot miss the ACC tournament coming off an ACC tournament championship and making the Final Four. So you really were left with no choice but to move on from Kevin Keatts. And now that you've moved on from Kevin Keatts, in 2 years after Will Wade took the McNeese State job, well, it opens it up for you to actually go after Will Wade. So I don't want to hear shit about shit when it comes to NC State shit. Because if you didn't believe it was dead after 2024, you aren't seeing the long game. That destiny is calling for Will Wade to be at NC State because NC State shit died thanks to Kevin Keatts elongating his career at NC State by 1 more year to open this thing up for McNeese State and Will Wade's deal to finally end, his promise to McNeese State. And then, of course, do we have to bring up Bubba Cunningham? If you don't believe NC State shit is dead, the fact that the Carolina AD's actions actually helped NC State.
They did.
If you don't believe Bubba Cunningham's insistence on making sure that they drag the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee into the modern era of looking at things like WOB and KenPom and resume metrics and predictive metrics in the same jumbled mess to make your decisions, which results in West Virginia missing the tournament, which results in their coach going to Indiana, which results in a domino effect that has guys like Brad Brownell staying at Clemson. And it all revolves back to this guy, Will Wade, who's in action right now against Clemson, going to NC State. Folks, it's dead. It's over. And you hire a coach who got in trouble for things that don't exist anymore. So there's my Galaxy Brain take on 2 slushies.
Perfect. You think if we had a place like this in Raleigh, our podcast would exist?
What do you mean?
We would be here every day.
I don't know.
You got more discipline than me, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, we know this about you.
Well, that's fair.
You don't do anything in moderation.
I do not.
No.
And I only had 1 slushie.
Well, you just hit a fireball shot, too, though.
I know. The fireball hits right, though. The fireball just kind of hits right there. It's like a warp.
Okay.
Feels good.
All right.
Not going to lie.
On that note, I think we're done. All right. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. Shout out to everybody who was watching.
We made it.
We made it through 2
did
slushies, fireball shots, no IPAs, because if you had an IPA, you'd be throwing up.
You saw me draw the line, so you know I'm not that drunk.
Yeah, I know. You are not that drunk. You are not that drunk.
You've seen me worse.
Well, heck, was it summer 2023? I had, 8 old fashions at graffiti, and then you handed me a High Life. That was the end of the night.
With a purpose that year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what? As our friend can testify, we had a good year in 24.
We did.
Here's to the Tar Heels in 25. Here's to Will Wade in 25. And here's to dollar fucking Bill Belichick in 2025.
Is he on the beach doing airplanes?
I don't care. He's making us money.
I love it. All right, that's going to wrap it up.
Don't pour the beer over the computer.
Yeah, please don't. And not over the roadcaster. That's going to wrap it up for this OG Live. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. We'll be back tomorrow at Longleaf in downtown Raleigh. We'll be doing a mailbag starting at 11:30. Come on by. We'll give you the mic. You can actually ask us questions on the mailbag in person. It's fantastic stuff. We will see you then.